Yeah, I got my volume.
See if I got any, got a cough drop? Water?
From Erie Zone Government Access, Channel 9, from the City Hall Council Chambers, it's time once again for the Taxpayers Hotline Show. And now, ladies and gentlemen, your host.
Whoa, look at that combination.
Whoa, that's bright.
Yes, sir. I guess I screwed up today.
No, this is good. It's like sunshine or something, kind of like what's going on outside.
You look like a flower garden.
Okay. I had no response.
I wonder what Mike's wearing. Is Mike wearing anything?
Mike?
Our engineer?
I don't know. Maybe he could come on camera and show us.
Mike will never come out. I wonder why, but...
Do you blame him? I mean, who wants to sit here? I'm leaving. I don't want to sit here.
There's a lot of pressure here, but...
There's so much pressure.
It's fun, though, right?
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool when we're not sick.
People ask, yeah. But I want to apologize, because I definitely was out of the game Monday.
Yeah.
There was no way I was going to... I'm still a little bit, but not contagious.
That's the first day I would have been back, but then since you weren't here, I didn't come in. And then prior to that, I've just been sick. It's been 2 months just hanging on and stuck in my lungs, and I can't get rid of it. But I'm better now. I feel better.
I'm going to try to get through, and hopefully, well, DJ, you're back. This is Kaz Kwiatkowski, City Councilman, and let's see, the show is, as usual, the rules are pretty loose. Talk about any subject you want, as long as you keep it within the bounds of somewhat good taste. And
no nudity, please keep it.
Try not to get too personal.
Gambling.
Watching some of your shows on TV, they're very interesting, though.
Yes, there are some interesting things on Channel 2.
Yeah, the one woke me up the other night.
It woke you up?
In the middle of the night, yeah, it was some kind of nice rock music, but...
Oh, yeah, I'm carrying there's a sponsored show that has a whole bunch of rock videos in it. So that's good. But it woke you up. What'd you do, fall asleep with the channel on?
Sometimes it defaults. I don't know why, but... which is not a bad thing.
Yeah.
Go ahead, caller.
Oh, hello. You didn't have a show last week, but you had a show the week before, and you were going to look into all these things, different things that I'll look into it, and you start off the show. What did you look into?
Well, actually, I looked into my blanket. How's that? I looked into my blanket and my doctor's stethoscope. And I was basically, except for the council meeting, I was incognito the whole week. But that's not your problem, that's mine. So, I might have looked at some of the stuff, but what specifically did you want?
Not necessarily.
I do have
the program. People ask questions and so on.
Sure.
And so many of them you don't. I think you don't look at it because you don't.
I don't.
Upstairs not to look at it.
Yeah, I do what, sir?
Yeah.
No, what I missed you. What was your comment?
My comment is some of the things you're not supposed to look into. That's what I gather.
I'm not supposed to look into. Why would that be?
That's my observation.
Yeah, but who would be telling me not to look into it? That means somebody's telling me that. So, I mean, you've gone this far, so tell us who this unknown nefarious person is that's telling me not to do anything. Well, I'm going to say this, because now he's opened me up.
Oh, here he comes.
We have some good news coming up, but he's going to get mad because I can't tell you. It's going to be hopefully good news. It's something that Councilman Mursky and I have been working on for a while.
Yeah.
And it concerns some property. It'll be, some that the citizens here have been complaining about for a while. So hopefully we can tell some positive. I'm not going to come out here and say it's great news and then it doesn't happen.
Yeah.
It looks to be good news, and it's a result of pressure from citizens and two councilmen. Go ahead, caller.
Are you talking about properties?
No, I'm talking about a specific property that I can't really go into great detail about because it hasn't been announced yet.
Oh, okay.
But it's going to be good news. And while this guy got me wired up, I think
I know where he was coming from.
I know, he thinks the mayor's telling me what to do. Well, guess what? The mayor calls me up, and he's mad because I don't go along with him sometimes. So you know what? Here's what I say. I don't care, okay? Because
The gentleman
I was sick all week, John. You know, I did a little bit, as much as I could. The thing I did find out is that, you know, I listened to you on the radio today, and part of that article was in the paper about the auditors owing 20-some thousand.
Oh, yeah. That's the only reason why it was brought up.
You remember I pointed out a long time ago.
And I told you a long time ago, too, that
Right,
all
and-
these professional teams should be paying for the amusement tax.
Well, they are, except when I looked into it as controller, the only one that wasn't paying at the time was the auditors. And quite frankly, as I was sick this week and looking into my blanket, I did read some ordinances and some other things, and I have some questions to ask the Civic Center Authority and our staff about how this was allowed to happen. Maybe it's something we have to tighten up a little bit, but...
Oh, yes. You know, there's a...
But I'm not going to sit here and have some guy accuse me of, you know, shilling for the mayor. I mean, that's...
I think he just a little perturbed that you didn't jump right away and drop what you're doing and look into things. You know, I know you have a full plate. I've asked you for a lot of questions about things, and I'm still waiting. But that's beside the point.
Well, here's a question, John. You asked me about the water reserve, remember?
Yes?
And we give every year 4% to the administration.
Okay.
Okay, that's a promise that council made, and it's premised on how much the water reserve generates.
It's
Now,
a super majority to give him that money?
well, we did, yes. That was an original decision back a few years when council took it over, and once we saw that the fund was, as you know, we changed managers of that fund.
True, now you're over $11 million.
Well, I'm not right attached to it like I used to. The last time I saw the numbers, it was, you're probably right, John, because it was 10 into the high tens, okay? And I would say that we were happy with the progress, but like I've explained to you, John, I know where you're coming from. I'm not in favor of drawing $4 to $5 million out of that account right now.
Well, I think it would have been ideal to do that because it would have saved up $11 million
But
in this bond.
But here's the problem. I heard that comment on the radio today about, let's give the mayor a loan. Okay, when are we going to get that paid back?
But that was the whole thing, that I didn't get a chance to do it because I got cut off because those two buffoons
Yeah.
don't understand the way city businesses run.
I just want you to know where I'm coming from. I was there when that fund was pretty well emaciated. We had promises that we couldn't keep anymore. We had money going to different places.
That's true, but you
And
know,
that 10 million-
you got money coming from the liquid fuels.
Right, but here's what we felt happy that every year we met with our advisor, okay?
True.
And we looked at how much that fund is drawing in with income. And we figured, how much could we give the administration and still build the fund? Okay, because at the end of the day,
I don't think you should have given the administration anything
well, we felt that the original intent of the fund was, John,
for capital improvement.
right, so, you know, if we can give him a little bit of money every year,
But how do they pay it back?
it's from us, it's that fund given to the city, that's not a payback, okay? You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
So what we hope to do is we hope to grow that fund. At the same time, if we give him $4 million, and then that fund draws in so much every year, and we can keep adding on to the fund, at some point in time, we can have another vote to say we can give the city some more money for capital improvements. We don't expect to get paid back. The intent of that fund is to...
Take care of capital improvement.
Right, so it's not like a loan, like to give, let's say we just go in there and say, okay, you can have $6 million, $5 million. All right, it's a loan. Well, now we're down to $5 million in principal.
Now, you're jumping too high.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's why we feel confident that we give them 4% every year, you know, and is that a lot? No, but it's a lot more than what we were giving them five and 10 years ago.
With the liquid fuel money and a small loan out of the capital water reserve, we wouldn't have had to go for this bond over a long stretch of period of time
Well, here's the problem. If you take, no matter how you do it, John, let's say you're right and we take it out of liquid fuels, okay?
Some out of liquid fuels.
Well, then you're gonna have to make up that shortfall. Whether you like what we're doing with the liquid fuels or not, then that creates a shortfall somewhere else. So,
But, true, but the whole thing here is the way he presented to the bond, he took the money and put it in the wrong areas. You don't go out and buy police cars and then repave the road. A bond is supposed to be a capital improvement that will last at least 25 years.
I made a comment at the last meeting at the end. This is probably the last bond issue I vote for, for road repair because, we were up against the wall this year and, we all knew it. So nobody can plead innocent. We're all guilty of that. But
this has been coming for the last 10 years.
Yes, and it's a practice. So what we have to do is be honest with the public, and it's going to be up to them, John. I mean, one way or the other, they're going to pay. To say they're not going to pay is a dream world.
And the administration is just burying everything.
Yeah, I mean, it looks nice because here's the thing: when you float a bond issue, it's kind of like balance billing. You spread it out. You don't see it. You don't see the damage because it's done over a period of time.
Damage on the end result.
Right. You're absolutely right. But are people willing to pay up front,
Well, I'd be more willing to pay $1 million on my tax than have to pay.
And that was my suggestion that
25 years and pay $11 million interest.
Well, here's my, I've said before to even you, John, I think you've heard me say it, that a mill generates, I was told, roughly about
$1 million.
$3 million, I think.
Right, in that vicinity.
And our public works director at the time said, $3.5 million to $4 million a year, that keeps us kind of like floating the boat. That's it. We don't make any progress.
Yeah, but...
No, I mean, this is what I'm saying. So my idea was, do we raise taxes another mill and dedicate that to road repair every year? I mean, I'm willing to, but, are my other councilmen willing to do that, And is the public willing to do that,
Not too many bobbleheads on council.
I mean, you seem like you'd be, I understand it's going to come one way or the other.
It's true.
And
Are we going to be like that woman up in Schenectady, putting pots or plants in potholes? You saw that?
No, I didn't, but...
A woman up in Schenectady, New York, she put dirt and peat moss and planted a posy in the pothole.
Well, actually in Chicago they had a plan where, I can't remember if it was KFC, Burger King, or McDonald's, actually sponsored a pothole.
Yeah.
And the only problem was, if you call it a problem, was they put their seal on top of it.
Yeah, there's too many of them, right?
But no, I mean, think about this. Think if, what's the difference if private industry says, we sell the rights to everything else. We did our arena, we do our buses, right?
Oh.
What would be wrong with adopt a pothole? In this program, I read about it once. I was on an airplane heading to Chicago to visit my daughter, and I said, what a novel. Think about this, DJ. Adopt a pothole, and Kentucky Fried Chicken, said, okay, whatever, I think it was them, or they said we would sponsor 300 potholes. I'm just making a number up. And each pothole would be, fixed by us, but it would have a little sticker on top, or something.
It sounds great. I got a couple other quick things.
Go ahead, John.
I see it's coming into spring again, and I see we're getting a whole bunch of blooming team turf signs again. I think city council ought to get together and get an ordinance where they don't put their signs in the cities right away on the opposite side of it.
Well, actually, since you brought it up, that was one of the things I had marked down on my list too, that we got an email this week from one of our code enforcement people that pursuant to complaints by neighbors and councilmen that they are looking into the sign situation, the various advertisements.
Yes.
So we have them working on that.
Political signs.
No, not only that, the various advertising signs, the plowing signs, the grass mowing signs, all that.
Code enforcement.
Everything. So we're going to, they got our attention.
Yeah, have to bring up a resolution and then make it law. But then again, you've got to put some teeth in it.
Well, let's see where they come from first, okay?
All right, and as far as code enforcement, he's got to get back down there on 38th and Page. The garbage is out already. Get a hold of Mr. Gowacki. He is the manager. I wasn't going to put his name on, but I'm putting his name on now because it was supposed to be taken care of.
Oh, is that department again, right?
Right, Northwest townhouses or whatever they're called there.
I'll make sure I go right upstairs today and...
The garbage was out all week. There was a couch out all week, and here it is, Sunday. It's out there again.
I didn't know
right off the bat.
I didn't know there was that many couches and mattresses in
There
City
was
View.
one big couch, and there's bags of garbage, and by the time garbage comes, it's Thursday night, it's blowing out into the street, the 38th Street. So something has to be done with them. Mr. Zimmerman, I'm putting you to task. And as far as that gentleman next to you, go down to the county courthouse and tell them you'll do their production of their council meetings at a cost.
Yep.
Actually, you know what? I met with them, and I want to report, John, that they are making progress. You know, they are doing some interesting things in the
County
community.
council?
Huh?
County council?
No, these guys.
No, I'm saying that these guys should go down to county council because some were for it, some were against it, some changed route in the middle of the stream after they got the publicity.
Yeah, I don't know why they're afraid. I mean, we got it here.
Yeah.
You know, we have no problem.
Well, that's because you might get some informed constituents down there addressing them, and they don't want to be put on the hook.
Well, imagine getting a call like I just had about half an hour ago. You know, a lot of people would shut that guy off, right?
Yeah.
I let him cut me up every week, so what do I care, you know?
I don't know. You better get something for that cold, like a hot glass of wine, and go to bed.
Oh, John, I can't hide for. I spent the whole weekend, and that was bad enough, you know.
I know you're infecting a lot of people out there.
No, I didn't. My wife and I stayed home, and we kept our mouth shut.
I know there's a guy been in bed all week since he had breakfast with you. Have a great day.
Who's that? Oh,
I won't say.
are you kidding me?
Nope.
I'm gonna.
Sick as a dog.
Well, he was sick before, though.
Yeah, but you just helped him along.
Oh no.
Gotta quit kissing in the car.
Oh, jeez.
Have a great day.
I think I know what he's talking about.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. And to the first caller, I want to say you don't even have to do this show. You don't have. This is not something you get paid for. You're volunteering your time.
I'm just joking.
You don't, right? No, that's the thing. You come in here and you do this, and you try to do this as a service to the taxpayers. You're not even getting paid for this part.
I'd like to take him for a ride with me because he actually believes I don't go out, but and I know he doesn't want to hear this, but
Yeah.
you know, yeah, Joe and I are friends, but I don't see Joe. Okay.
Yeah.
You know, the mayor and I, we have an understanding. You know, mayor's the mayor, and I'm a
Yeah.
councilman,
Yeah.
and Joe's never infringed on that. He doesn't tell me what to do, and
I think
I've never told him what to do.
I
You
think
know,
the first caller's concern was maybe sometimes you do take down notes and you just don't get to it the next week or whenever
people
you're on
tell me
next.
they can't get a hold of me. That's true because this phone is jammed.
Yeah, I can't.
I
leave a
can't
voicemail.
possibly-
I've tried leaving voicemails and it says it's full, and I just.
I think I'm going to have to do what I had when I was a controller, not hire, but have a couple volunteers to go around and look
Yeah.
at my problems
You definitely.
because I can't get them all done. You know, and it's
You
just,
need an assistant, and it can't be me, unfortunately, because I don't get paid for this either.
this week I had a woman call me about a traffic issue, and I am meeting with the traffic engineer to hopefully solve that issue. So let's see what happens there. Go ahead, caller.
Hey there, Cass.
How you doing?
Good. I'm trying to keep doing better.
Those are two pretty good questions today.
Pardon?
Those are two pretty good questions you asked today.
Well, I was just going to call you, see if you couldn't have them, the candidates come on your taxpayer hotline for us.
We really can't because, first of all, it's pretty late, and I may have a guest next week. I'm going to kind of announce it at the end of the show. But we've never, in the history of this taxpayer hotline, we've kind of kept politics out of it the best we could. We've never, once people have announced, if you notice, we've had some guests on here that that have announced that aren't on anymore. They won't come on again till after the show. In fact, I'll tell you quite frankly, I had scheduled Mrs. Arrington to come on the show and explain some things about her programs.
Yeah.
And DJ and I talked about it, but when she announced, that kind of put that out. And it's a feeling of everyone down here that, that's not the direction they want to go with the show.
I might make one comment.
It's a good idea, but which brings us up, Doc, to an idea DJ and I got, that maybe I'll take this show away from City Hall some night. And
Okay.
we're still working on maybe doing a Channel 2 show.
You do know your accessibility is limited to only the cable viewers that have a cable box.
Well, not really.
Cable box, you can't get this channel.
You are also carried on, if you have cable and you don't have a cable box and you have a newer TV, you can get the channel.
Okay. I wasn't aware of that. I know if I got one older TV and I went to turn it on there, it would come up.
Yeah, the older TVs, everything's pretty much not on there anymore, and they're taking a lot more away from there. But on the newer TVs, if you have one, plug it into your cable, scan for channels, and you will find them on like 97 point something.
How about the internet, too?
Not sure. Yeah, and on the internet, they're online too, on Ustream.
Oh, YouTube, okay.
Yeah, so if you got, you don't have to have Time Warner, do you, to get it?
You don't have to have Time Warner. If you have cable and you have a computer, you can watch these guys online.
Yeah, you go to the city website, right, correct?
Yeah, I think there's a link to it off of the city website.
Hey, in terms of the paving too, Cass, has there been any thought given to the idea of seeing if anybody wants to try applying other types of paving materials, like do a street as a sample to see how well it holds up?
We did that before, like on streets like 38th Street, but the way I wanted to talk to the city engineer, and that was impossible. He and I, well, being that I don't work at City Hall anymore, it's almost, I can't run into him like I used to, but I did talk to the Public Works Director and brought up some of your suggestions, about the, what do you call it, the ceiling and all that.
Yeah.
And, he told me that, they go with a lot of the state recommendations on that stuff, and what I need to do is sit down with my friend, John Tushak, and, ask him, because he really understands it better than I do. And I do know that they do test the compounds of the road, but I don't know, which ones they're using, but...
Well, what about the airport just did dirt, but is it all concrete or is there paving in that?
That I don't know, I really don't know. That's out of my domain. I'll tell you what, if you have time, feel free to leave a message with John Tushak and tell him some of your ideas.
Oh, I don't want to be elected mayor.
No. No, but look, hey, I've heard people say that. I've heard people say that they're using wrong compound, and I know when I had to I didn't okay specs, I just okayed the contracts. I had no idea, I mean I didn't go to school to study blacktop and asphalt and the various compounds, but I'm assuming that they use the best they can, and they test it to that degree. But I've heard people argue otherwise. So.
Well, I'll tell you, my one idea, I wish the city had incorporated it years ago, is run all the utilities down the middle of the street and put a steel plate over them so you don't have to keep it up. They fashion down so you can just lift it up and work at it and put the steel plate back down. And then that saves you from tearing up the rest of the street. And
have they ever tried that somewhere else?
Pardon?
Have they ever tried that elsewhere?
I don't know if they've ever tried that. But remember how the old time we'd go downtown and have all these cones for the steam to vent up and everything?
Yeah.
About what it amounted to, the utilities were down the center. So you didn't have to dig the whole street up, just go down and dig the middle area. But they changed all that, I know. So it's, hey, there's no ideals, that's for sure.
Well, I don't think there's any such thing as a bad idea. Sometimes they think that the people that aren't highly educated in the field, sometimes I think they poo-poo their ideas, but sometimes the best ideas come from people that, maybe it's too simplistic on the surface, but after you look at it, you say, well, maybe we can't do it this way, but that opens up a whole different thought process, you know. Yeah. It's like years ago, you know, whoever thought about burying telephone wires under the street, right?
Right.
You know, and when we were kids, where'd they put them? Out in the top.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they were all above. And, but then they buried them under their city right-of-ways, you know, and between the street and the curb, the sidewalk and the curb.
Yeah.
Buried it there. Yeah, and, you know, even with the paving like that, I guess maybe I should mention, you know, like I had my driveway repaved, but they put a fabric down, over the old layer to keep it from cracking or buckling and stuff like that, and that worked pretty well this winter for me, I know. So I don't know if that would help the city streets to do that or not. But
it might. You know, a lot of things are cost. That's the big problem. Like, you know, when we were growing up, if you remember, when they had road construction, they closed down the road.
Right.
Now they found ways of leaving one lane open.
Yeah.
They found ways of remilling. They never remilled when we were kids. You know, now they chew up the old road, recover it. So, you know, things are evolving gradually. And you know, like that idea of the truck that goes around that the one council candidate brought up, I'm sure they've looked at that, you know. And it's always a cost factor with everything, you know.
No, this caller has a great idea, though. I like the idea of putting everything in one location. At least you know.
The trouble
where to
is, you
find
don't
it.
know whether, and this is why I would be curious with a metal covering, you know, how that would hold up in winter. And
Well, metal or some sort of material that maybe doesn't heat up and expand and contract, but at least make everything uniform so there's not a manhole cover here, but over here it's kind of there, and
Yeah.
they're random. It seems completely random and unplanned. So I would like to see that be taken care of in the future.
even if it's, you know, like what to call like a channel.
Yeah.
Has a steel plate covering, kind of like a U-shaped channel, and you put the steel plate over there, and put all the utilities down it. That makes it a walkable channel too, maybe for somebody to walk down it.
actually, in a lot of public buildings, that's what you have. They actually, the wiring is through the building, so what they do, they just, they go in there and they take up a channel. And believe it or not, some of those channels over the years have really got congested because you're having older buildings servicing more computers, more lines.
Yeah.
Those channels, or whatever you want to call them, are now, you've seen them.
Yeah, that'll happen sometimes, and they don't take the old wiring out. They just lay new wiring in them, and then you don't have room for anything else. So.
Yeah, so it's not a, you know, we're doing those ideas in buildings. Maybe you're right. Maybe we need to do it in streets. Maybe that's what we got to do is when we build roads, build channels, you know.
I think that would be great if there was some sort of law or rule that kind of controlled that, because I think the problem is we subcontract out to so many different companies that one company will drill a hole here and another company will drill a hole
And you
somewhere
get different
else.
community standards.
Different standards, they come in and they don't really know the standards in your community. There might be a better way to make them communicate with some organization here in the city so they can say, hey, it needs to go here, you need to do it this way.
Actually, the utility tunnels was an example.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, a lot of through Erie, we have a lot of utility tunnels.
Well, I'll get off the phone here, Cass, so somebody else can call.
Okay.
Your humorous little comment that your listeners might enjoy. The question was raised, if a dog loses his tail, where does it go to get a new tail?
Yeah.
Go to a retail store.
I thought you said that. I thought it was coming to the tailor shop or something.
No, go to a retail store.
As usual.
Yeah.
See you, Doc.
Week there, Cass.
Yeah, joke of the day.
Old classmate of mine. He used to pull those off.
That's cool.
Yeah, he and I, when we, like, you know, growing up, it's a whole different world, you know. The whole street would get closed down.
Yeah.
We would laugh. They would fix the street, and then they'd tear it up next week.
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
The channel idea is not bad. We have utility tunnels, but...
Yeah, so why is there not some sort of plan in place, not just here, everywhere? Instead of having, you know, you got to close down the road to get to this manhole cover, why are they even in the middle of the road in the first place? Why don't they have them off to the side, just off the road, so you can get
Good question.
access?
Probably has to do with city right-of-ways, and...
Yeah.
See, there again, what you, like when you have... You understand how right-of-ways work, right?
Not really.
Well, the city owns, let's say, the roads, and
Sure.
so far, each side of them.
Right.
And they own the right to basically come in and, like if you move into a new neighborhood and the city has a right of way, let's say when I did where I lived, across the street was where the gas lines were. So they had to actually tap into my neighbor's front lawn.
Yeah,
Technically, that wasn't his front lawn. That was the city right of way.
right.
He maintained it, so I felt bad, but
Yeah,
that's the way the rule was. And when we hear about the city still owns that little strip in front of your house,
right.
that's where they put utilities.
Yeah.
So that's a right of way.
Well, that's where everything should be there then. If it's going to be a city right of way, why don't they put the channel in there? Make that where all the cables and all the wires and all
Good
the
question.
pipes
Nobody's ever.
run through the right of way, since it's the city's anyway.
Well, I think it's an idea of like where I used to live. I didn't understand there was a whole creek tubed underneath my street.
Yeah,
Well, you had to tube that almost under about half of the road.
yeah.
So that made a problem with the other stuff.
I used to live in a house.
Nothing's ever as easy as you think it is.
I lived in a house that the creek went under the house, and it was tubed underneath the house. Years after I moved away, I went back to find out how the house was doing. Collapsed into the creek.
It did?
Yeah, collapsed. The tube collapsed, and everything just went down.
My
into the
engineering
water.
buddy, I taught Sean and I, we used to discuss the old Erie Canal.
Yeah,
He took me for a ride once, and I was surprised that you could see houses in the old days when they took out the canal, that probably was cheap land.
yeah,
But you were in a nice neighborhood. That was a
Right.
beautiful neighborhood, but all of a sudden, when they took the canal out, they had to fill it in. It probably wasn't the best ground at the time.
yeah.
So all of a sudden, you had houses popping up on that. They're still there.
Hey, before I forget, I wanted to cover one thing.
Yeah, go ahead.
The one caller said, why don't you have political candidates, excuse me, come on the show?
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Just so you know, and just so your audience knows, we do that at CAT. It's basically an open forum where you come in and you can actually give your 15 minutes of whatever you want to talk about for your campaign at CAT TV, and then we'll wrap them all together into a DVD, and then we put them on the air. So if there are any political candidates that are interested, we're actually beginning to shoot that tomorrow. We're doing Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. We're going to be shooting access to the candidates, and then the following week it'll be on the air. So I just wanted to put that out there.
I always took full advantage of that.
That you did.
And I still will, even now, if there's a slight fee,
Yeah. Time to drink.
Or saved by the caller.
Yeah.
Go ahead, caller.
I want to know when Mickey Mouse is going to be on.
Who's Mickey Mouse?
He's the political candidate that gets more votes than anybody else. But Kaz, I want to thank you for the study you wanted to bring up for Pine Avenue and French Street. I've been screaming about that for quite a while. And now apparently you got the Pennsylvania Department of Transportation to come in with you to make this study.
Well, I wanted to thank Bob Mursky, too, because he and I together worked hard on this.
Well, I've been screaming at this for how long?
And John, you're right. In fact, I'm glad we expanded it to not only there, but we got
Yes.
Old French Road.
Right.
And also,
Pine Avenue.
and we're going to study the parking up in the Upper East Side.
What you want to do is just study the amount of deaths that those two corners have caused.
Well, you know what the problem was? They always told us they studied it.
And there's not enough traffic.
Yeah, but they studied it when the kids weren't there.
Yep.
And I'm going, you got to study that when the college is fully opened, and you got people every day that are coming in from the suburbs, coming into work. Just check around Tim Hortons or CVS in the morning,
Get Mr. Carroll to go with you and make a left-hand turn on 38th and Pine Avenue.
Yeah, try that.
It's a real treat. But I wanted to thank you for that.
Hey, thank you, John, and I'm sorry I made one of our cohorts a little ill there.
That's all right. But hey, like I told him, hot wine and honey and have a lot of changes of clothes.
Hey, but wait a minute, Mickey Mouse isn't always the top winner, John.
Hey, no, Daffy Duck gets quite a few, too.
How about Joe Matarazzo on the west side, though?
He's under the hood. Have a good one.
You don't know that joke, do
I
you?
do not know that.
Ask somebody from Little Italy who Joe Matarazzo is.
Okay.
When you open up the voting machines, you see like Mickey Mouse and
Yeah.
Joe Matarazzo.
Really? Okay.
My mother's probably laughing. She'll give me when I get home now.
She voting for him? Does she write him in?
I hope not.
Is that someone from Erie's past? From our
It's
history?
a mythical character. It's kind of like the Irish leprechaun.
Right.
Nobody's ever seen Joe. He just
Nobody's ever seen Joe. But he gets a lot of
some
votes.
claim to have seen him, but
Yeah. Okay.
sometimes there's a correlation between John's remedy and seeing Joe Matarazzo.
Oh. I didn't understand the lots of change of clothing, but maybe you sweat a lot when you drink hot wine.
Oh, so things are like I was very pleased to attend your meeting there that day, and
Oh, yeah, yeah.
I like what I see. But you guys got a lot of work ahead of you.
We do have a lot of work ahead of us, but it's nice to have you on board.
It's good. I think once people, I was you watch that in some of the stuff you go, man, is that for real? But you know what? It's people having fun. It's people doing their thing,
Yeah.
and that's what you were designed to do.
Yeah, that we're basically there so people have a say. You can't just go somewhere and say, I'd like to do a TV show. You can't go to PBS and say, I'm going to make a TV show with you guys. But with us, you can. You can just come down and make a show about baseball, make a show about digging ditches, make a show about the sky. It doesn't matter. Just
I keep
come
thinking
down.
in my head, I'd like to take this show maybe down there a little bit.
Yeah, we're going to do it.
But I'd like to do something else too sometime, Lou. Something like our buddy Louie, just.
I'm pretty sure we're going to call it Kaz After Dark. It'll be CAD for short because you're such a cad.
There you go.
Not everybody's going to, understand.
Lou
what
got
that
me
word
interested when he plays that. When I saw him in his little boat there, Lou, when he did that show with
is. I'm not sure who you're.
Louis, the one that did the dedication meeting one day.
Oh, okay. One of our own. Yes, Liz.
Yes, he had his own little office there.
Yeah, yeah,
I said that could be Captain Kaz's midnight ball or something.
yeah. He
Best
does.
Led Zeppelin.
He does his show from his own home office. He just sits there and he does the recording. And a lot of people do that. They record their own stuff at home and then they bring it in as a show and we put it on the
Maybe
air.
we'll get John to come on. We would do the Headbangers Ball with the Led Zeppelin and
That would be something to see.
the dark side to everybody. But getting back to city business.
Yeah.
Well, it's good. I think the guys are out patching today, and
Yeah. I mean, the roads are looking kind of rough. They got their work, ahead of them this year. There's been a lot of quick thaws and reheats and then cooling and then thaws. There's a lot of damage out there, but they'll get it. They always do.
yeah, and I was watching. A lot of people are complaining about. The winter's drying down now, and it's time to get out there, and
Yeah.
people are starting to feel good again. And as you drive around, some of the things are starting to look positive.
Yeah.
You're seeing some projects starting to be built. But like I brought up at a council meeting, still way down in the pit of my stomach, I feel a sadness that we need more development, in the city. We need more.
Yeah.
We need that nice brand new store, the brand new.
I think we do need a lot of development, but we don't necessarily need to build a brand new store when there's a crap load of buildings that are there just ready to accept a business.
Oh, either that
Move
or
into a business, remodel it.
let's do that, or let's tear down some old buildings and.
Yeah, if you're tearing down
Yeah.
the building to put something good there, that's fine. If the building is too, junky to keep, I understand that. But I actually went for a walk yesterday. I walked for 2 hours. I walked from the train station down 12th Street. I just walked for 2 hours because a friend of mine was going to pick
And
me
you're
up at a
amazed at the
restaurant.
empty buildings, right?
I was amazed, is to put it lightly, at the number of empty buildings, and that's just a short stretch. That's 3.3 miles.
Which is why, like, people, I admire people like, you don't have to agree with sometimes with their ideas or politics,
Yeah.
people, but, I always say, no matter what, people like Nick Scott, Rick Griffith,
Yeah.
they're doing things positive.
They're doing things.
And you see, his buildings are looking nice, they're empty,
Yeah.
but that's the first step, is to
Yeah.
save them.
At least their buildings are being cleaned up, and there's a coat of paint, and they're fixing up all the stuff, so it's not, hurt stuff that's going to hurt you around the base.
And I'm
of the
hoping
building.
long-term that, gradually we start to turn the city around, that,
Yeah.
it would be nice to say, we very rarely have good news like Moe's Restaurant opening up in Erie, or
Yeah.
the new Tim Hortons or something like that,
Yeah.
We don't, we don't have enough good news all the time, but
Right.
yet, like, just before I got sick, I took a walk with this teacher from Connell School, and I'm going to have her on the air sometime, hopefully.
Yeah.
And I'll have more on her program with her permission, And we took a walk through the woods with some of the teaching staff, some of the neighbors.
Right.
And the thing she has planned for, if you ask a lot of people in Erie where Roma Park is, they couldn't tell you.
Yeah, I don't know where that is.
But there it is, right behind Tops Food Market.
Yeah?
That big set of woods,
Tops on 38th?
East 38th.
Yeah.
That big set of woods, You see on your way the cable company and all that.
Yeah.
I walked through there and I said, even though I've been an Erie person all my life, the two things I learned after getting on council that were kind of amazing is I walked through two parks that I've never been in my life.
Right.
The one off McClellan, the big one,
Yeah.
that they're developing into the dog park and all that.
Okay.
Huge park, And then I walked into this Roma Park, and her and her volunteers have been cleaning it up. And you got this nice creek going through there.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, man, this will look nice with a little bridge. And she had some nice ideas,
Right.
which I want to get together with Eddie Kissel and talk about whether the Sons would like to take that under their umbrella.
Yeah.
She said, think about being able to bring kids in here and teach them how to fish
Yeah.
and teach them about nature. And, and I'm thinking, it's one of the last undeveloped pieces of real estate.
Right.
And up to now, the city doesn't have the ability to do anything with it.
Right.
Now, we've had people take over with the city's permission, run nonprofits out of Frontier Park,
Right.
and that's her plan up there. And I'm thinking, this is great.
Yeah.
This is a good idea. That if we can take this little eyesore, it's sitting there gathering garbage.
Yeah.
Can you imagine somebody actually having enough gall to take a 72-inch TV into there, deep into the woods? I mean,
Oh, man.
if you have that much effort, I'm thinking, why can't you take it out to the street,
Yeah. Wow, I would say people are lazy, but it's not exactly lazy if you're going through the trouble of hauling that all the way
And
in
that
there.
creek is not exactly,
Put it somewhere where it should go instead of...
and that creek's not 20 yards in either.
Yeah.
I mean, I walked in there, that'd be, I said, this is pretty good.
So this is what I don't understand about some people, is that they'll go through trouble to do bad, but they won't, take less of a step to do something good with something. People are always fixating on the bad and the negative when they could actually just turn around,
Yeah,
and it would be easier just to do something good, put it out to the curb. It's going to end up getting picked up. Don't take it and dump it in a park.
I want to say her name right, but I believe it's Lori Hogan.
Mm-hmm.
And she wants to, here's a teacher, no reason to do it except,
Yeah.
she wants to.
Well, that's good.
And
We
I'm
need
saying,
a lot more of that.
these are things that, if Amy's going to turn Erie back, and I know this gentleman that called before, he can say what he wants. I took some rides before I got sick again, and
Yeah.
I was down around Lynn Street and talking with some neighbors, and, they all want to take back their neighborhoods.
Right.
But we got to help them. See, we got to help them. They can't do it all alone, and we can't.
We need more volunteers. People need to volunteer.
But we need to take an interest as a city.
Well, as a city, we do, but we need
Go
to
ahead,
also
caller.
back up the volunteers.
Yes, sorry,
That's okay. You sound like me the other day.
Yeah.
got something stuck in my throat. They can't take a TV to the curb because that's not part of the big item pickup. They have off the TV, the Electron.
Yeah, I shouldn't have said that, but what made me mad was when you walked inside this park, you had to walk in, I think we were about 70, 80 yards into the woods. And if you got that much effort to hide a 72-inch TV in a creek there, and you walk through the mud, you could be a little more creative where you hid it outside in the open, Do you think somebody would have picked it up on a curb anyway,
Yeah, somebody would take it for
But to walk into the woods 70, 80 yards or more in the mud, and I'm going, I don't care how light they are. I mean, I was slipping and sliding, and they're pretty good. Just kind of, it makes you laugh a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, which side of the park did you enter from?
We entered from, there's actually two parks. One belongs to the school district. It's behind Connell School. So we went in that part, and then we also walked down the driveway of Tops, heading north, and we entered the woods. We entered the woods from just a little north of the store, and then we headed west.
You parked in the Tops parking lot and entered from the...
Actually, I parked in the school district there.
Oh.
And then we went into the school district woods, and then as part of her project, she's cleaned up both of them. In fact, she put up a little sign, "Welcome to Roma Park." You see it if you're riding along Zimmerman there. And so we entered from the driveway and then headed west into the park. It's a little bit north of the property. The woods are right behind Tops. You seen them back there?
There's no real parking area, is there?
To get in there? No, you have to kind of park like along the road and walk in.
Yeah.
And that may be something over the years that I'm sure if we clean up the park, I'm sure we could work out a deal with Tops. They'd be glad to have people parking there, utilizing it. I mean, I'm sure the school district wouldn't mind during non-school hours,
Yeah.
because we have little league fields back there and everything. But it's quite a big area of woods back there. But just to clean it up, I don't think a lot of people really, when they see on paper, they see Roma Park, they think something's in there, and there's nothing in there, just woods. But her plan is to have walking trails, and let's see what happens.
Yeah.
Did you go down the street on the west side of the park? Is it Regis or...
I didn't get that far over. We ran out of time because it's pretty deep in those woods, and when we were in there, it was pretty mucky and.
There's no real paths through the woods?
There's a few that are kind of homemade, but there's no real plan. I think if they do it, they're gonna, they'll probably come up with like a plan which paths are clear, and some have been made naturally by people walking through there. But there's a beautiful creek in there. Just keeping it clean is another thing,
Yes. Okay.
But you're right. I think it goes, from what I've been told, it heads all the way over to Regis, like.
And it goes north quite a ways. I don't know how far. I've seen it on the map, but I never went in.
No, first time I was ever in there, and I was utterly amazed. You got deer in there. You got all kinds of birds, and for young kids, learning nature and stuff, and maybe scouts and stuff, or just the general public walking through there having a good time. That'd be a nice place.
Yeah, it would be a good field trip for the Joanna Connell students.
Yeah, and that's why she's a teacher there, and she's decided that's her mission. So I know a cleanup day is coming. I think it's the 24th, and I know that I've been told the city. I asked them, and I think they're going to send a couple trucks over there to take some of the debris out of there.
That's nice.
It's kind of, what do you call it, National Cleanup Day? I should get Sarah Galloway on here. That's her baby.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you for the information.
But if she don't mind me pumping her name out there, I'm gonna stick it out there. So if she needs volunteers,
Sounds good.
Yep. Hey, thanks for calling.
Hey, see ya.
Get well, though. You sound like you got a little cold there.
No, it's just food in my throat. Take care.
You too.
You too. Take care. Yeah, we need more positive attitude. We need people to get together and actually do cool, creative things. We need artists and engineers and people just to get together and hang out and talk and try to come up with some ideas to do some cool, creative things in this city.
Well, I agree with you. I think one of the things we don't do is like developing the city.
Yeah,
I don't know if the mayor does it, I don't know, but if he doesn't, we should have a committee of people that, ask them to be on there. Guys like Kennedy, Griffith,
yeah,
Scott, different people.
yeah, yeah.
People that have shown an interest in the community and say, meet with us and tell us, why you haven't done things here, why you would like to,
Right.
what needs to be done. Maybe it can't be done, but until we talk, and I agree with you, you take that step further. And we kind of done that with the arts in some ways,
Yeah.
but we need to do that, like, get together instead of everybody having their own little vision of things,
That is a problem with this city. Everything is compartmentalized.
Yeah.
Everybody does, here's somebody doing something, here's somebody doing something, here's somebody doing something. We need a common ground to get all these creative people together and have a voice.
Yeah, and sometimes we have too many things where we're killing each other,
Yeah.
but
Yeah,
Like-
you have one art thing against another art thing, and I don't like what they're doing, and I don't, they don't.
years
people-
ago we had a great arts festival,
Yeah,
and then
exactly.
I don't know what happened to it. It was in the park. They didn't want it in the park.
Yeah,
Then they moved it out of the park, and I think that hurt it a little bit.
yeah.
Then then all of a sudden it was okay to put other things in the park. We've gone through different. This isn't this administration.
Yeah.
This goes back.
This is, yeah.
It's
prior.
been played out many times, and
Right.
and you laugh at it and you go, that's why we have no plan. I'll give it to on the sports side. They got the sports commission, which is kind of got together and tried to plan like events coming into Erie.
Yeah,
It's sort of like, let's work with what we got and try to figure out how do we make
Right.
things come here.
yeah.
Sometimes we don't do that, it's like, how do we bring like entertainment here? How do we bring developers here? What do we need to do? Everybody's got their own little mission, and I'm not saying it is bad sometimes.
Sometimes it's bad, sometimes it's
I
not
call it the
bad.
shotgun. We're firing a shotgun,
Yeah.
and the pellets are hitting a lot of different targets,
Yeah,
but we're not making we haven't done anything. We're just,
I think people think that Erie has a bad attitude, and we have to find a way to show outsiders that you can come into Erie and get something good to happen here.
sometimes though, we're better than outsiders. We believe I call it the Music Man theory.
Yeah,
He comes there and he's selling us, remember the Music Man, he's going
Yeah.
to have a band and no uniforms and
Right.
blah, 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 and we all believe that.
Yeah.
Sometimes we look down on our own people.
right.
In our own backyard, we got all kinds of success stories. We have Erie Insurance, we got Smith Provision,
Yeah.
and they all started small.
Yeah, I mean, by outsiders, I don't mean people that are going to come in and just change things, but people that want to come in and start business.
Yeah, and we have to be open.
Yeah.
And sometimes I think we are parochial at first, and we tend to be very self-conscious. We want to be like, I always call it like, we want to be like Pittsburgh. We shouldn't worry about Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
We're Erie.
We're Erie, yeah.
Okay? We have our own, there's no reason why, with three major cities surrounding us, we can't make them come here. And they do, for what, boating and,
Right, we do have things that attract people, but we have to also change some mindsets to get people to come in and feel more comfortable here.
and to try new things here. We can't be afraid of, whatever.
Yeah, we just can't be afraid. How's that?
I
Stop
brought it
being
up in the back
afraid.
room one time, let's try to get a movie theater downtown. Let's try to do some other things.
Yeah, yeah.
But, let's change downtown. Let's bring in, not just drinking establishments, but
Yeah,
let's
that's
try
the
some.
last thing we need is another bar.
Let's try
I'm
some,
sorry.
let's try different things. There's room for
Yeah.
everybody,
Yeah,
But you have success stories out there. You have the comedy club, which started years ago. That was a novel idea.
right.
Go ahead, caller.
Good. You guys have good thoughts, and you say virtually the same thing week after week after week. How can we do this with the mayor that we have?
Well, we don't need the mayor. You know what? We need to take charge of our community. And look, I invite you to come down with me sometime and become involved. Take a ride with me. I mean, you only see the part of me you see on TV or at the council meeting.
I'm not blaming you.
No, I don't want to be blamed, but I want people to start taking their community back because, we all look at the mayor, the governor, but we got to start our own people. I said this, I talked to Mr. Scott myself one time, and I said, how come you've never developed in Erie? And no one ever asked him. And that surprised me. But I agree with you, sir. When is
the mayor going to stand up and do something?
Well, if he doesn't, we got to. Because you know what? We can't keep waiting we've waited so long for the miracle project to come in, and it just never comes. And sometimes the miracle is right in your backyard, and we got to figure out a way to. We got too many people running things, and we're depending on them. I don't know if they're doing the job. We got to all be ambassadors of our own little community.
Will you let me talk?
Yeah, go ahead. I'm going to let you have the rest of the show. Go ahead.
My God, and somebody starts to talk, and you take over and don't even let the person talk.
No, I'm sorry. Go ahead. You got the show.
I was amazed and really happy to see the tribute to Mayor Tullio over this past week, so forth, how much he did and how he loved this city. And why can't this mayor even say, I like this city? Do something to say, I like. It's pitiful. It's downright pitiful that he stands back and he wants to make it a tourist city. That's a disaster. That turned into a disaster. So what do you think about that?
Well, I think the manufacturing part of this it's a bigger problem than just locally. That has to be, the state has to change their whole attitude on how they deal with business. And until that happens, what used to be our secondary business, which is entertainment, is now seemingly took over our top business. You're probably as old as I am, or maybe a little older, correct?
Yes, just a few years.
Name me the top business. Name me the top 5 when you were a young man. I'll bet you're going to say GE, Hair Mill, a few others, right?
Oh, well, yes, sir.
What do you think the top 5 are today?
Are you kidding? Sterilizer, Lords, oh my God, all those places.
What do you think is today the top 5, though? What would you guess?
Oh, today?
Yeah.
Top 5 in a city? You talking manufacturing?
No, I mean top 5 employers.
Oh, I mean, I'm not going to get. We're talking manufacturing here.
Yeah, but that was the difference. And like today, I look at it and I was surprised. It's government, it's hospitals, it's education, or it's
sure.
Or I'm not getting on Mr. Scott, but it's businesses like, what do you call it? Hotel management, all that stuff. There's very few industries in there anymore, and that's what's when we look at Erie, we're premising everything on that. And what's happening? The per capita income is lower in the community. Because of that, we don't have a lot of things we used to have. And I agree with you. How do we get business back here? And this is where it's going to take Harrisburg, the county of Erie, and the city of Erie. And we have to work together as elected officials to see what has to change to bring that back. It's not going to be easy. Downstate, I remember Hershey Foods. They were getting ready to move out of Hershey. What do you think that would have done to Hershey? You know what I'm saying, sir?
My point is the mayor has done so very little. Do you agree?
I agree that he needs to get more actively involved on the state level. I've told him that, personally, that I think we have to make our presence known more in Harrisburg, because right now we're like third loop in Pennsylvania, seems like.
Yeah.
We don't. You don't ever hear of anything, any big projects coming here. Like you hear about them downstate. There's a new factory coming, or our political power up here has waned over the years, and it has a lot to do with how our congressional congressmen have been reapportioned and everything.
Well, we don't have a person like Lou Tullio who had power and knew how to talk to those people. He knew where to get the money, and he got the money, and he brought it to Erie.
Now in fairness to
Here, I don't I haven't seen anything significant in his favor.
I think a lot of our problem too is this country right now being enraptured in the military situation. There's not as much money there, so it makes it that much more critical that the dollars aren't there. You know, you can't. You have to fight harder for them because they're really not there anymore. And you know, during Lou's days, he knew exactly how to do it. No doubt about it. At the time we tore down most of downtown in redevelopment. You remember that when we were young men.
Okay, I'm gonna let you go.
Hey, thank you for calling. As always, your comments are great.
Okay, bye.
He brings up a very good point that, there was a different world back then.
Yeah.
But there's no doubt about it now. We settled for, think if we'd have taken advantage of recreation back when we had manufacturing.
Yeah.
God only knows what this community would have been like. If we could have got a casino here back when we were living the golden days.
Yeah.
Well, I often said that,
Yeah.
Where did Branson, Missouri start? What was Branson when I was a kid? Nothing.
Yeah.
It was the middle of a farm field.
Right now, they're what, an entertainment capital?
How'd they get there? You look at Erie, our biggest liability, what they tell us is because we're located between three major cities,
Yeah.
we don't get a lot of stuff.
We have a lake.
I mean, no, what we get, like, we don't get the big airport because of that.
Yeah.
We don't get we get something, but we get the
Yeah.
benefits
Yeah.
of being surrounded by it. So why not use that liability as our asset? Like years ago, we should have had a casino here, but you couldn't get the state to think that way.
Well, in closing, I will just leave you with this. And I'll ask everybody out there, what can we do? How can we help Erie become something better? And I'll leave you with that because we
Maybe if
actually
they
have
all
to.
write us a little, over the coming week.
A check?
No, not check. If they hold their thoughts, or if they want to drop them to us on email, my email is available on the website.
Right.
Or the phone call. My number at home is in the phone book. No problem.
Yeah.
If they like to do that, maybe we can come up with some good ideas. The best ideas of that'd be your job.
I have a job?
Yeah, you're going to be the gatherer of the thoughts.
I will gather thoughts. I will try.
Yeah,
I will
what
do my
makes
best.
Erie change? No, that's a good idea.
We do. I mean, it takes a community to build a community. We can't just sit back and expect one person to take responsibility for an entire community. It's not the mayor's responsibility for everybody in the community to come together.
No,
we
and
all
if he-
have to work together.
Like I said, like my son, you may have a captain on a team, but if he doesn't want to be the captain,
Yeah.
you be the captain.
Yeah.
Okay? And if you see something that you want done, now maybe this is the perfect time. A lot of people don't call us; they talk to us later.
Yeah.
So drop us a line, catch me around town,
Yeah.
tell me what your best idea is for what you think would the new Erie. We don't need a destination 2040 or whatever they call it.
And if you see me walking around, don't be afraid to stop me and ask me, the same things. Tell me what to tell Kaz, and I'll bring it, and I'll try to get
Or,
the stuff
like I
together.
said, my number, 825-7601, it's in the phone book.
Yeah.
Where's Mike? He didn't come out.
No, he did. We're done. We just
done.
wanted to say thanks for
Well,
joining
I
us.
want to announce that hopefully next week, if things work out, we're going to have Jay Badams here from the Erie School District,
Nice.
and you're welcome to show up.
No, I'll step back.
Well,
I like
we'll
the-
see
I
if
like
he-
it when you have other guests.
Well, we'll see if he shows up, but he's been invited, and he gave us a tentative approval, so I can't promise you, but
I'll be a backup just in case.
as always, thank you for showing up, and thank you callers for the pros, the cons, and everything in between.
Take care.
And thank you, Mike.
Yes, Michael, thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, you have been watching the Taxpayers Hotline Show on Erie's own Government Access, Channel 9.